Welcome back to Stamps Old World UK, the channel where history, philately, and passion for collecting rare treasures from the past come alive. Today, we are diving into a fascinating piece of American postal history, a true gem for stamp collectors worldwide, the United States Parcel Post 1-cent stamp. This stamp, with its deep red design and intricate engraving, holds not only monetary value in today's collector's market, but also tells the story of a time when the Postal Service was the backbone of communication and commerce. The 1-cent Parcel Post stamp was issued in 1913 as part of a special series of 12 stamps that were introduced when the United States government officially created the Parcel Post Service. Prior to this, mailing large packages through the postal system was not practical or affordable. This new service revolutionized the way goods and packages were transported across America. The stamp design itself is striking, featuring a postal clerk at work inside a busy post office, surrounded by packages, symbolizing the efficiency and organization that the parcel post system brought to millions of Americans. The image captures the essence of the postal clerk's role, making it a fitting tribute to the unsung heroes who kept the mail moving every single day. Collectors often admire this stamp not only for its design but also for its historical significance. When it was first issued, the 1-cent denomination covered very specific postal rates related to parcels. The entire series, ranging from 1 cent all the way up to $1, depicted various scenes connected with the transportation and delivery of mail, from airplanes to trains, from rural delivery to post office work. This made the series unique because it was the first time the United States issued a complete set of stamps devoted entirely to parcel post rather than ordinary letter mail. The 1-cent stamp remains the entry point to this remarkable series, and for that reason, it is a favorite among collectors both in the United States and internationally. Now let us talk about the market value of this stamp in today's collector scene. The value of the 1-cent Parcel Post stamp depends on several factors, including condition, centering, gum presence if it is mint, and whether it has been postally used. A used example in fine condition might be valued anywhere from $1 to $3. However, a mint condition example with original gum, well centered, can fetch significantly more, often ranging between $10 to $30 in the general collector market. Truly superb specimens with exceptional centering and grading have been known to sell for much higher, sometimes reaching $50 or more at specialized auctions. For blocks or multiples of this stamp, the value can increase further, making them highly desirable to advanced collectors who want to own a piece of history in its original form. Another interesting point for collectors is the color variation and printing quality. The deep carmine red shade is the standard, but sometimes slight variations in tone can be found due to differences in ink batches and printing runs. While most of these are considered normal, certain variations that are visually distinct may command a premium from specialized collectors. Furthermore, errors or unusual cancellations on the stamp can significantly boost its value. For example, a clear postmark from a rare town or an early first day of issue cancel could turn an ordinary used stamp into a prized collectible. The appeal of the Parcel Post 1-cent stamp also lies in the larger story of the set. Many collectors aim to complete all 12 denominations, and the 1-cent serves as the foundation of this beautiful collection. For those beginning their journey in philately, this stamp is a wonderful starting point, affordable yet historically significant. For seasoned collectors, finding a perfectly centered mint example is both a challenge and a reward. The hunt for quality, rarity, and history all come together in this single small piece of paper, just 1 inch in size, yet holding over a century of legacy. In today's dollars, while the average value may not seem astronomical compared to rarities worth thousands or even millions, the real treasure lies in the history and connection that collectors feel with this stamp. Every time you hold one in your hands, you are touching a piece of early 20th century America, a time when the nation was expanding, modernizing, and embracing new technologies and services that changed everyday life. This is what makes stamp collecting so meaningful. It's not just about the market value, it's about preserving history, cherishing art, and honoring the stories behind these miniature works of craftsmanship. So, if you're thinking about adding the 1-cent Parcel Post stamp to your collection, remember that you are acquiring more than just a small piece of paper. You are gaining a fragment of postal history, a symbol of progress, and a connection to a bygone era. Whether you pay a couple of dollars for a used copy or invest $30 to $50 in a mint, well-centered example, the value is both financial and emotional. This stamp represents an important milestone in the evolution of postal services, and it continues to inspire collectors across generations.
Next up, the most iconic and historically significant stamps ever issued by the United States, the legendary 1-cent Benjamin Franklin stamp. This stamp not only represents one of America's founding fathers, but also embodies the very beginning of the U.S. postal system, making it one of the most collected and researched issues in philatelic history. The stamp you see here features a profile portrait of Benjamin Franklin, who is often referred to as the first postmaster of the United States. Franklin's contribution to the establishment of a reliable postal system was enormous. Before American independence, Franklin was appointed Postmaster General of the colonies by the British Crown, and later, after the Revolution, he helped shape the new nation's postal service into a system that would become the backbone of communication and commerce for centuries. Honoring him on a stamp was both symbolic and fitting, because without Franklin's early reforms, mail delivery in America would never have achieved the efficiency it did. The 1-cent Franklin design first appeared in 1851 and was produced in several varieties over the years. The specific design you are looking at comes from the mid-19th century issues, printed in shades of blue or black, depending on the year and printing. The portrait itself was engraved with remarkable detail, showing Franklin in profile with finely executed lines, enclosed in an oval frame with the words U.S. postage above and 1 cent below. This simplicity, combined with the historic subject matter, has made it one of the most recognizable classic U.S. stamps. Collectors often divide the 1-cent Franklin stamps into numerous subtypes because over time, changes in printing plates, colors, and perforations created distinct collectible varieties. Some of these are relatively common and affordable, while others are among the rarest stamps in all of U.S. philately. For example, certain early 1-cent Franklins from 1851 and 1857 are highly prized due to scarce color shades and rare plate positions. Later issues, such as those from the 1860s, 1870s, and beyond, continued to feature Franklin, showing how deeply connected his image was with the American Postal Service. When we speak about market value today, it really depends on which exact type of Franklin 1-cent stamp we're discussing. Common later issues of the Franklin 1-cent stamp in used condition may sell for only a few dollars each. For example, many late 19th century or early 20th century Franklins can be purchased by collectors for between $1 and $10, depending on quality. However, if we go back to the early printings, especially from the 1851 and 1857 issues, prices rise dramatically. A used 1-cent Franklin from these early years in fine condition can range from $50 to a few $100. Mint examples, especially those with original gum and strong centering, can command several $100 and in some cases exceed $1,000. Now here is where it gets exciting for collectors. Certain rare plate varieties and error stamps of the 1-cent Franklin are worth staggering sums. For example, the 1-cent Franklin known as the Z Grill, issued in 1868, is considered one of the rarest and most valuable U.S. stamps in existence. Only 2 examples are known today, and one of them was famously exchanged for a block of the inverted Jenny a few years ago in a private trade valued at several $1 million. This makes the Z Grill Franklin 1-cent stamp one of the holy grails of philately. While the average collector may never own one, knowing that such rarities exist within the Franklin series adds tremendous depth and fascination to collecting them. But even if you do not have one of these million-dollar rarities, there is still much joy in collecting Franklins. For instance, many collectors enjoy hunting for subtle differences in shade, perforation, and paper type. A catalog will reveal dozens of varieties across the different Franklin 1-cent issues. Some are minor and affordable, while others are scarce and command strong premiums. This variety ensures that the Franklin 1-cent stamp remains engaging for both beginners and advanced collectors. Another factor influencing value is the quality of the stamp itself. Collectors always look for stamps with fresh color, clear impression, and sharp perforations. Centering is especially important. A well-centered Franklin can sell for multiples of the same stamp that is poorly centered. Condition of the gum on mint stamps is also critical. A never-hinged, well-centered example can sometimes sell for 10 or even 20 times the value of a hinged specimen. Likewise, covers, envelopes bearing the 1-cent Franklin properly postmarked, can hold tremendous value, particularly if they were used in unusual postal circumstances, such as overseas mail or early experimental services. In today's collector market, the most common Franklin 1-cent stamps can be acquired for just a few dollars, making them accessible to everyone who wants to hold a genuine piece of American postal history. More desirable varieties and better quality examples typically range between $50 and $500. And for the rarest issues, such as the Z Grill, we're speaking about values in the millions, far beyond the reach of most collectors, but nonetheless part of the legendary stories that keep Philately alive and exciting. So why does this stamp continue to captivate collectors more than a century and a half later? The answer lies in the combination of history, rarity, and design. Benjamin Franklin was not just another political figure. He was a statesman, inventor, philosopher, and most importantly for us, a pioneer in postal reform. His presence on the 1-cent stamp is a reminder of how vital the postal system was in uniting a young nation and enabling communication across vast distances. Every Franklin stamp is a small tribute to the vision of a man who believed in the free exchange of ideas and information. For collectors today, owning even the most modest example of the 1-cent Franklin is like owning a link to the very roots of the American Postal Service. It's an opportunity to preserve history, to study printing methods of the 19th century, and to participate in a tradition that has connected people across the world for generations. And for those lucky enough to discover a rare variety, the Franklin 1-cent stamp is also a gateway into the high-end world of philatelic treasures. So, in conclusion, the Benjamin Franklin 1-cent stamp is not just paper and ink. It's a symbol of progress, communication, and innovation. Its market value may range from just a couple of dollars to several million, but its true worth lies in the story it tells and the legacy it carries. Whether you are a beginner collector picking up your very first Franklin or a seasoned philatelist hunting for the elusive Z Grill, this stamp will always hold a special place in the heart of our hobby. At Stamps Old World UK, we celebrate these stories, we honor these designs, and we keep the history of philately alive for generations to come.
Next up, the 1-cent Navy Commemorative of 1936. This beautiful green stamp, issued as part of the Navy series, celebrates two legendary naval heroes of America's Revolutionary War, John Paul Jones and John Barry, and honors the role of naval power in shaping the nation's destiny. The stamp design itself is truly eye-catching. At the center, we see a fleet of tall ships sailing proudly, symbolizing the naval strength that secured American independence. On the left side is a portrait of John Paul Jones, the famed naval commander who is often remembered as the father of the United States Navy. His ship, the Bonhomme Richard, appears beneath his portrait, immortalizing his victory against the British warship HMS Serapis in 1779. Jones's words, "I have not yet begun to fight," echo through history as a symbol of American determination and courage. On the right side of the stamp is another portrait, this time of John Barry, who is also celebrated as a founding father of the United States Navy. Beneath his portrait is his ship, the Lexington, which he commanded during the Revolutionary War. By placing these two men side by side, the stamp honors their combined legacy and highlights the naval struggle that was essential to securing independence. This commemorative stamp was part of a special series released in 1936 to honor the Navy's contributions throughout history. The series included multiple denominations, each focusing on different naval figures, ships, or battles. But the 1-cent green stamp remains one of the most admired because of its vibrant design, historical subject matter, and affordability for collectors. Unlike regular issue definitives, these commemoratives were intended to celebrate milestones and achievements, making them particularly appealing for both postal use and philatelic collecting. Now, let us talk about the market value of this stamp today. Because the 1-cent Navy Commemorative was produced in large numbers and widely collected at the time of issue, it is not considered extremely rare. For collectors just starting out, this is good news because it means you can own a piece of history without spending a fortune. A used example of this stamp in fine condition can usually be found for as little as 10 to 20 cents, sometimes even sold in bulk. Mint-hinged copies are very affordable as well, often ranging from $1 to $3. However, the real value starts to appear when we talk about mint-conditioned examples with original gum that are never hinged and well-centered. Such specimens can command between $5 and $15 in the general market, and if graded extremely fine or superb by professional grading companies, prices can climb to $25 or more. Of course, as with many classic stamps, blocks, plate blocks, and first-day covers featuring this 1-cent Navy commemorative carry added value. A plate block of 4 in never-hinged condition might sell for $10 to $20, while a first-day cover postmarked with the 1936 date of issue could range anywhere from $5 to $30 depending on its cachet design and condition. Collectors also seek covers that traveled internationally or were used in interesting postal contexts, as these can fetch premiums well above the average catalog value. Another fascinating aspect of this issue is the color. The rich green ink used for the 1-cent Navy commemorative stands sharply against the white paper, making it a visually striking stamp. Sometimes collectors look for slight variations in shade, though in this case, such differences are not considered major varieties. The beauty of this stamp lies in its sharp engraving, balanced layout, and the historical weight of the two figures it portrays. Many collectors consider it one of the most attractive U.S. commemoratives of the 1930s, and it holds a special place in albums worldwide. For stamp enthusiasts, the 1-cent Navy commemorative is not just about value in dollars, but about the story it tells. By honoring John Paul Jones and John Barry, the stamp invites us to reflect on the struggles of the Revolutionary War, the importance of naval power, and the bravery of individuals who risked everything for the dream of American independence. It also connects us to the 1930s, a time when the United States was looking back on its history while preparing for the challenges of a new global era. In 1936, the world was on the brink of great change, and issuing stamps that celebrated naval heritage was also a way of reinforcing national pride and resilience. So, while the 1-cent Navy commemorative may not be a million-dollar rarity, it is a stamp of great significance, combining history, artistry, and affordability. It's a perfect example of how philately brings the past into the present, allowing us to hold history in the palm of our hand. For beginner collectors, this stamp offers an affordable entry into commemorative U.S. issues. For experienced collectors, it provides opportunities to seek out high-grade examples, plate blocks, or beautifully preserved first-day covers. And for all collectors, it's a reminder of the enduring power of stamps to tell stories that go far beyond their original postal purpose. In today's market, depending on condition, you can expect to find this stamp priced between a few cents for common used copies up to about $25 for superb mint never hinged examples. But its true value, like so many stamps we discuss here on Stamps Old World UK, lies in the history it preserves and the inspiration it carries. Every time we look at this green commemorative, we are reminded of John Paul Jones, John Barry, the Bonham Richard, the Lexington, and the incredible legacy that they left behind. That concludes our exploration of the 1-cent Navy Commemorative of 1936. If you enjoyed learning about this stamp, please subscribe to Stamps Old World UK. Leave a comment below about your thoughts on this issue and share this video with fellow collectors. Together, let us continue keeping the art and history of philately alive. Thank you for watching, and until next time, happy collecting!